Hello, my name is Zach Gibbs, and I am a content developer within education services inside Juniper Networks. And today we will be discussing the forwarding mode for SRX JWeb Learning Byte. So here is our example. In this example, we have a few different devices that I want to talk about. First, we have vSRX1, which has two interfaces. Gigi000 connects to the users, and Gigi001 connects to the server. And the users are using the 10.1.1.0/24 subnet, and the server is using the 172.29.1.0/24 subnet. And with this example, we want to configure vSRX1 with the following criteria. We want to disable IPv6 forwarding. We want to ensure that security policies are not necessary for forwarding IPv4 traffic. Then we want to ensure that there's bidirectional communication between the users and server 1. So let's go ahead and get started. First, let's jump to the CLI to examine the status of the flow module. Now, one thing I do want to point out here is that even though this Learning Byte is focused on JWeb, there's really not a good way to examine the flow module in JWeb. So we need to use the CLI to look at that. And with that command, we can see the flow forwarding mode, that first part of the output. We can see here that iNet forwarding mode is set to flow-based, which means we will be using the flow module for IPv4 traffic, and then iNet 6 forwarding mode is set to flow-based as well, which means, again, that we will be using the flow module for IPv6 traffic. And then we have MPLS forwarding mode set to drop, ISO forwarding mode set to drop, and tap mode is disabled. So what we basically want to do here is we want to set that iNet forwarding mode, which is IPv4, to packet-based, and iNet 6 forwarding mode, which is IPv6, to drop. So let's go ahead and jump to the JWeb interface for vSRX1 and get this going. All right, so here is the JWeb interface for vSRX1. To begin, we need to go to the network forwarding mode workspace, and here we have the forwarding options. And you can see here we have family IPv6. Okay, we know we need to set that to drop. And then we have family ISO and family MPLS. But you might notice that we don't have family IPv4 here. So how do we set family IPv4 to packet mode? Well, it's not terribly intuitive, but what we have to do is we have to set family MPLS to packet mode. And in doing that, that sets family IPv4 to packet mode. I know that's not easy to figure out if you didn't know that already, but that's why you're here, to learn this stuff. So let's go ahead and click OK. And then let's commit the configuration. And we have a problem. Let's look at this error. In this error, it says mode packet-based. MPLS mode packet-based not allowed when security policies are configured. Commit failed. So what does that tell us? Well, what that means is that when we configure MPLS mode packet-based, which also configures packet-based mode for family IPv4, that we can't have anything configured for security policies. And in reality, this skips the flow module, which basically skips all the security features of the SRX. And so we'd really need to go through and delete the security features that we have for the SRX. So let's click OK to get rid of this. And let's go to Security Services, Security Policy, Rules. Let's expand this. We can see we do have one rule. Let's select that. Let's delete it. And then we do also have some security zones. Let's get rid of those too. And let's click commit again. However, it will still error out. And this might seem a little confusing. The error is the same, says no security policies. And so what's the problem? Let's jump back to security policies to see if we could figure this out. And there's no security policies. And to be completely honest, the first time I did this in JWeb, I was really confused here. There's no security policies. But something kind of funny happens, and this is something that probably will be fixed in later versions of JWeb. But when deleting all the rules, it still leaves the policy statement. So what we need to do here is we need to go into the CLI and remove that statement. And we can do that by going to Administration, going to Tools, go to CLI Editor, and then if we scroll down, we can see here that we still have policies under security. We don't have any policies configured, but we still have the policies statement. And so that's where JWeb is getting tripped up. So let's go ahead and delete that. So we'll delete that whole line. And then we want to commit the configuration, but we don't want to commit the configuration through the normal means because this will not grab what has changed in the CLI editor. So what we want to do is click the commit for the CLI editor, and it will commit all of the changes. And the commit went through successfully. And notice that the commit still shows pending up here. That's not the case. If we refresh this page, that pending commit goes away. So let's jump back to the CLI for vSRX1 and look at the flow module. Okay, so here is the CLI for vSRX1. We can see here in the flow module that things have changed. The flow forwarding mode for iNet has been changed to packet-based. IPv6, which is iNet 6, is changed to drop. MPLS is set to packet-based. ISO hasn't changed, neither has tap mode. So by setting MPLS to packet-based, it also sets iNet, which is IPv4, to packet-based as well. So for the last step, let's ensure that the end hosts can communicate between each other. So here is the VR device, which is split up into multiple virtual routers, and each end host is a different virtual router. So let's go ahead and use those virtual routers, which are routing instances, to test connectivity. So 172.29.1.100 is the server 1 address, and we're going to ping it from user 1. And things look great there. Let's do the same from user 2. Again, perfect. Okay, so 10.1.1.11 is the IP address for user 1, and we will be pinging user 1 from server 1. And again, communication is flowing perfectly. Let's change that IP address to 10.1.1.12. That is the IP address for user 2, and we're pinging user 2 from server 1. And again, communication is there and things are working perfectly. Now, the one last thing I do want to bring up here is that IPv4 traffic that is sent through vSRX1 right now can't use anything in the security flow module. So that includes security policies, that includes NAT, that includes anything else that is security related. So basically what we did here is turn the vSRX1 device into a basic router. So keep that in mind that if you do this, you will be disabling the security features of the SRX device. Now, something else that I will cover in a future Learning Byte is selective packet services. So you can have security services turned on for certain traffic and security services turned off for other traffic. So look out for that Learning Byte in the future. So that brings us to the end of this Learning Byte. In this Learning Byte, we discussed how to configure the forwarding mode for SRX using JWeb, and then we also demonstrated how to verify the forwarding mode for SRX. So as always, thanks for watching.
Visit the Juniper Education Services website to learn more about courses. View our full range of classroom, online, and e-learning courses. Learning paths, industry segment and technology-specific training paths. Juniper Network's certification program, the ultimate demonstration of your competence. And the training community, from forums to social media. Join the discussion.